Hello, St. Joseph Angels. It is February and a new month, so we are ready for a new virtue. And this month's virtue for February is the word kindness. So behind me here, I have the poster that you helped make last year when we studied the word kindness. So we'll just review it quickly. First of all, remember that kindness is a fruit of the Holy Spirit. In other words, we do get the grace of kindness from the Holy Spirit. And we talked about last year ways to be kind, and we said three things. First of all, you can speak nicely, you can act nicely, you can think nicely. So let's talk about each one of those. To speak nicely can be things like using a kind voice, using kind words, maybe giving someone a compliment. It might even be some phrases like please and thank you and can I help you and good morning. And when someone says good morning to you, that you reply back and say good morning to them. So all different ways to speak nicely. We also have acting nicely, doing things like sharing your toys, your school supplies, whatever someone might need, to show compassion for someone when maybe someone's having a tough day. How do you help them out? And the word help is up here also, maybe helping someone with their schoolwork or helping them learn how to play a game or helping them in PE or music class. So all different ways to act nicely. But then we also have to think nicely. Sometimes we don't think about our thoughts being part of how to be kind, but to think nicely. In other words, are we having positive thoughts? Are we thinking about things that would bring us closer to God, and pushing all of those other thoughts out of our head? Are we thinking nice things about other people? Are we refraining from gossip? No gossiping about someone. So think nicely, act nicely, speak nicely are all different ways to be kind. We had some other words that we used up here last year. We said to be gentle, to be thoughtful, to be helpful, to be forgiving, and to be protective. And of course, forgiving has been one of our virtues that we've talked about earlier in the year, to show forgiveness for one another. We have a quote down here. It says, a kind word can conquer anger, it can calm the spirit, and it can even start a friendship. So this month we're going to be especially working on ways to be kind. So this year, each month we've been talking about a saint that might exemplify that virtue that we're studying. We know that our saints exemplify a lot of virtues, but we just kind of pick one each month. And so this month I want to share someone with you that you might not be familiar with. He is actually blessed, so he is still on the path to sainthood. His name is Blessed Celaena Casey. I chose him. It's kind of interesting because he is an American-born saint, and he's also a modern-day saint. So he was born in 1870 in Wisconsin, and you can tell by the way he's dressed, he's a Capuchin. So he was ordained a Capuchin in 1904. He served his time in Harlem and in Yonkers, New York, and during that time, he was the doorkeeper at the monastery. And that's exactly what it sounds like. His job was to answer the door. And so the poor and the sick would come to the monastery seeking help. And the doorkeeper would answer the door and tend to their needs. And that is when he fell in love with the poor and the sick. In fact, he said, a quote from him says, I have two loves in my life, the poor and the sick. So how many of us can say that our greatest love are the poor and the sick and caring for them? And he showed so much kindness to them when they would come to the door. Eventually people started seeing that when they were in his presence, great things happened. He was credited with a lot of miracles. And so a great person to study about how to show kindness to the most destitute. So Celaena Casey is his name. As I said, he was ordained in 1904. He became venerable in 1995, and then blessed in 2017. And those of you who study the path to sainthood know then that's the blessed would be the next step before becoming declared a full saint in the church. So this month we're going to be practicing how to be kind to each other. We're going to think about those words like saying please and thank you. You're welcome, excuse me is always a good one. Especially if you need to speak to an adult and someone else is speaking to them, you can always say excuse me and then wait for them to address you. Good morning. Let's practice responding when someone tells you good morning. Sometimes we have a tendency just to walk away and not respond back. So kindness is key for February. Have a great day.